All right, excellent. I had to check to make sure that everything was live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just give it here a quick timer. We'll give it about 2 minutes for people to go ahead and join, and I'll be right back. Hello and hello. My name is Joelle and I am the Viberarian. I am here to elevate, enlighten, and empower. And I'm doing that for myself first. And I do it in a public way because my hope is that you too will find something that resonates with you so that you have a better time on your journey. We're all in this together, right? So I'm up here every month on the third weekend at Holistic Health and Wellness in Marietta, Georgia on Canton Road. And on Sundays, we get together for some card reading and time together. And it's just a beautiful experience. If you're in the area, stop through. Don't limit it to just Sunday. You can come by anytime. Holistic is just a beautiful space to kind of refuel your tanks. And you never know what might speak to you and want to go home with you in terms of crystals or beautiful objects and incense and all manner of things that might decide to go home with you when you leave. So today is a very, very strong energy day. And as such, at Holistic, there are all kinds of events that center around that. It's a beautiful place to observe moon rituals, sound baths, healing, cleansing. And one of the things that I have been participating with is a series of work by a practitioner who I'm going to just introduce to you here in a moment, Caroline. And she does these beautiful works that have been very healing for me personally. And so I'm delighted today because we've kind of got a 1-2 punch. So right behind in the cards this afternoon, we're going to have Caroline is going to be facilitating work with people who are here. I think at 2:22 is the scheduled start time. So Caroline, I wanted to introduce you here and share some screen with you for a moment so you can speak about what energies you're going to be bringing in, because that's how we're going to shape the conversation that we have with Spirit through the cards this afternoon.
So today or this weekend is a super powerful weekend. We have the fall equinox, we have the new moon, and we have a partial solar eclipse. So all of it is just bringing in powerful cosmic energies to us right now. And we are at the threshold of it. So, what we want to do is we want to bring ourselves into connection with the divine and bring ourselves back into alignment and into balance, right? So, the fall equinox is all about balance, balancing the light and the dark, balancing love and fear. So, we want to kind of balance those energies within ourselves, releasing what no longer serves us and bringing in what does and what we're ready to step into next.
And everything happens in the personal and the collective in tandem with these energies. So you will have your mini version of this playing out, and we can watch that playing out in the macro version on the world stage as well, if our eyes are open to it. Now, the work that you do here, could you share a little bit about the practice and its connection in terms of indigenous?
Well, my work is deeply rooted in yoga, Ayurveda, Indian science, as well as shamanic traditions of the Andes Mountains of Peru. I was initiated a couple years ago into the rainbow lineage, and I am considered a sacred mesa carrier, medicine woman, and sacred ceremonial leader. So, I am here to just hold space for you and help you in your journey as you begin to remember who you are, remember why you're here, and to bring yourself back into balance.
Yes, I love that. The work that I've experienced with you has been, I've witnessed and experienced that shamanic knowledge that you are holding as a rainbow carrier into the humanity expression. And one thing that I love is that we're in this place where the indigenous, the beginning of man's interactions with environment, is rising again into more broad awareness of people. And so we see people reaching out cross culturally to connect with that more common ancestral way of connecting with spirit. And I'm like, today I decided to wear a shawl that was brought back for me from Peru by Dawn. Dawn, now this is where I was gonna say I'm gonna bring you in. Is there any energy? And it's interesting because this is a rainbow colored shawl. So, and yesterday in all my readings, there were at least 3 or 4 that had this rainbow that came forward from the clouds. In one of the presents, there was like one of those little rainbow slices, not in the arc, but just like a prism in the actual card. So to hear you say that at the beginning was very aligned.
Well, I could tell you some of the symbolism. You do have what we call the Chicanas, the Chicana portal, which also represents the 4 directions.
This is this image here?
Yes. And then you also have the beautiful condor. The condor expresses the purview. It's the highest flying bird in the planet. So it's just that other version of view that we see, different perception, basically. And then the llamas is just a beautiful animal that they revere in the Andes. For many reasons, they use the fat a lot of times for in sacred ceremony because it's just their powerful animal that they connect with. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful animal.
See, this is beautiful. So I love the alignment and the connection, right? So in my operation, there's nothing that is really random. Everything is my opportunity to see spirit in form around me. And so it's kind of people when they see Neo in the Matrix and he begins to see the ones and zeros, the coding behind the form. When you get to a point of integrating your higher self perspective, it's always going to be showing you that reality structure behind your lived experience. So often, well, for me, one of the places that I was drawn to in my travels was I spent in 2016 6 months down in the Riviera Maya. And as part of that, I've been to Chichen Itza for the equinox phenomenon probably 4 or 5 times. So I know that there was a soul resonance that was calling me to that. And if you're not familiar with Chichen Itza, it's one of the wonders of the New World. And every year on the equinox, the shadow of Kukulkan, the great feathered serpent god, either descends with the harvest or rises up with the energy of the people in this very sacred and amazing structure. And you can go and see the carvings that show, the real alien, ancient astronaut kind of presence that's written and inscribed in the walls. And you can see the sacred geometry, the amazing ability of that structure to amplify sound and to portal and channel energy in specific times in ways that is lost to us now for all of our modern technology. So the fact that I'm not at Chichen Itza this year, but it's the equinox and it's kind of like bigger. It feels bigger this year. So the biggerness of it, why is that to you?
It's because of the new moon. It's because of the partial solar eclipse that makes it amplified. That solar eclipse, and we had a lunar eclipse 2 weeks ago. So between that and now the solar eclipse, it's just really, really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's magnifying all the energy. And it's opening a big portal right now for us. So it's time for us to step through it and become our highest selves.
So, okay, I love it. I love it. So when I'm coming here, I have an extensive collection of cards. And as a librarian and the Viberarian, I feel like there's a reference. You've ever gone up to the library and asked a question and they turn around behind them and they pull an encyclopedia out and then they hand it to you and go on your way. I have that in terms of cards. So today I was guided to bring, in my conversation with Spirit, the Mayan Oracle, the Galactic Language of Light, which is a beautiful deck. And this is what I call one of my heavy hitter decks. It's not the kind of deck you use every day, unless you're a monk or a priestess and it's part of like your really serious calling, because these are highly activational cards, right? Then I've got this Moonology deck, which I would say is more of an everyday or to use with moon cycles or to teach yourself about what the moon presence really can do. And then I got this Sacred Geometry Phoenix Gateways is the publisher, Sacred Geometry Healing Cards, because I thought to myself, we're dealing with eclipse and balance of light, of shadow, of pyramids, of structures, of symbols that the ancients felt were important to leave for us in stone. And I think it's interesting because you have a spiral, on your earrings. And here we have this glyph that is that spiral. And yesterday there was a gentleman in who had Stacy has her spiral on today. And there was a gentleman in yesterday who had commissioned some art that was based on Kemetic architecture. And at the center of it was this spiral that was bringing in feminine and indigenous energy from like an African perspective. So I think it's interesting. Did you choose those for a reason?
I did. It's the rebirth. It's the birth of the new you.
Okay, okay. So we're going to have you pull for us our card from this particular deck to see what wants to come through the portals of the pyramids, the equinox structures where the sun aligns very specifically, where it's been engineered into our planet as evidence for us to see. All right. I felt a wave of heat just mow through the cards when you put your hands there. I love that. Okay. Ooh. Okay. This is the image. It says Khan. So, in first receiving the energy of this, does anybody have an impression that they want to share?
Orange.
Orange. Okay.
Right.
Anyone? What is it? Yes, it felt very womb to me as well. The sacred seat or the vessel, almost an illumination pouring down. I don't know what this binary thing is, but the fact that it is binary makes it, feel important. We have cellular division in the birth process, but this vessel, and it almost speaks to me of like the feminine priestesses that is it Hathor? This looks like the Hathor and Isis, but definitely like the priestesses of Inanna and Hathor tended to have that. The bull also symbolism, and
the orange is the sacred womb.
Yeah, the sacral. Yes. And it's the yellow too, which is empowered. That's our solar plexus, like so empowered birth. I don't, anyone else get anything from here? I'm going to have you hold this. So the thing about divination is it's a catalyst for spirit to communicate with you personally. So when it comes to reading cards, we just did. You never have to look at a book. You just share, you think, let it activate. Even like, like the feeling of, wow, somebody says, that's big. It's beautiful. The sun. Thank you, everyone, for the, Good Vibe Tribe. We got several people in the chat. So thank you. I can see you contributing. I appreciate that. So that, and you know what? I also see a feline face as I just looked at it from the side. Ears, the eyes of like a lioness, the jowl or the jaw. And I know like the panther symbolism is very important in Mayan, but this is like the golden lion, not the Black Panther energy. So this particular book has, let me find, page 50. Again, the reason why I say that this is not an everyday book or an everyday deck is because the book is this thick. And there are pages and pages of information about each of these, so you can really sit and unfold and go on. Now, what we're going to run through here real quick, and we'll take all the time needed, but be expeditious. Please, if you need to pause, if something causes your arms to prickle up, or you gasp, or a light bulb comes up, please stop and contribute that, because it's part of what Spirit needs us all to hear since we're here together. So Khan is the seed, the corn, and also represents iguanas. Seeds, seed manifestation, self-germination, creation, fertile ground, gestation, opening, erupting possibility, acting on inspiration, initiating creative ideas, and developing confidence. The symbol is a well-rooted seedling and the solar plexus. The number is 4, which deals with measure and cycles. The color is saffron yellow. The herb is sunflower petals and dandelion. I love that.
So
Yes.
I was looking at the card, and what I thought was a light bulb and ideas. And I thought, man, that couldn't be it. But then...
Yes. Yes, I don't know if everyone could hear, but Stacey was saying that she thought of the light bulb, she saw it, but then thought, nah. Right? So part of that is that we discount our initial response because the logical brain steps in to then try to order the experience of the mind. And the divine guidance comes from behind the mind, right? The mind is processing it just like the rest of the being. So acknowledging and working through that with more trust in the future. And as a reader for others, that's something I often have to go through, is because you think that you're not clear and you want to make sure the person gets the right message, but you have to step out and say, I could say gorilla Magilla Gorilla. Like even right now, I don't even know why I'm using that as the example from Cartoon World, but there's a purpose and I can't think about it. I just have to say it because it's maybe not be for me. Hey friends, come on in, come on in. So continuing to go, and sunflower petals, sunflower is my ancestor mother's. Yes.
I'm very connected with sunflowers, so that.
Yes, right. So, okay. Hello, welcome, friends, welcome. All right, dandelion. The flowers are yellow lily, buttercup, daffodil, and marigold. The flower essence is the bow tree, which is the seed of enlightenment. The element is fire. The stones are citrine, gold calcite, tiger's eye, and chrysoberyl. The direction is south. Now, the shadow wisdom of this energy is fear, feelings of insecurity, limiting of new possibilities with routine, choosing to remain safe at the expense of awakening and growth. Hello, can I get a dose of that? Lack of confidence. The shadow transformation is to realize that you and your life are the fertile ground, that you awaken your own dreams and possibilities. Free yourself from the illusion of safety as you enter into the manifestation of emerging possibility. The harmonic wisdom is progression. Now, the mudra is hands cupped over each other at the solar plexus as if holding a seed, then opening your hands, offering the seed into your life. Oh, that's a beautiful activity.
And today we're going to be using seeds as the offering
Okay.
in our ceremony.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Well, and I also know that in the online crowd, Tanya went to go get a new sweater yesterday, and it in the back it's like freedom from fear or something similar. I'm sure she'll pop it in there. But yes, and Tracy, yes.
So my dad is the one who introduced me to the Mayan wisdom. And as you know, he passed away in May on the 7th. And when you pulled that up, I just thought about him.
And May is the fertile manifestation in the material plane, the plowing of the land and the planting in the springtime to bring to fulfillment as well. Yes, let me see if we got this. Oh, okay, we didn't get the chat in. All right. Then it says the meditation, I am the Bodhi Mandala, the seed possibility erupting. I am the Bodhi Mandala, the seed possibility erupting. And that's beautiful because that catalyst seeds do when they burst forth from that husk. It's an explosive moment that flowers in the twinkling of an instant. And that can happen for us in the twinkling of an instant, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and it is, I am the fertile ground and the self-germinating seed of possibility. This is the seed card of the discoverer. In the potency of my realm are the seeds of your visions and dreams gently nurtured, for they awaken the sleeper and illumine the great mystery. Receiving Khan indicates that now is an auspicious time to plant the seed of some intention, project, or dream. Now is the time to act on your inspiration. Stop daydreaming and begin initiating your creative ideas. Hello? The energy of Khan asks you to look at the issue of receptivity, for seeds germinate best in a field of responsive surrender. I like that, in a field of responsive surrender. That's an active place, right? It's not passive and just letting whatever will be. That's an intentional act of like releasing and allowing to the greater force. I love that. What can you do to create the receptivity that will assist in the germination of your seed ideas? Remember that all seeds are self-germinated and that the realization of any dream starts with a simple thought. Don't get lost in the entire process of manifestation. Just begin by seeding your heart's desires. Feel the possibility of your dream seed emerging. Your life is the receptive soil. Plant a seed in that fertile field. Begin. Take the first step. The result will naturally blossom in the light of your willingness to start. All seeds hold the holographic power of their own completion. So the tree is in the holographic completion of the seed from its tiniest speck. It's already fulfilled. That's kind of deep. Wow. Khan represents the power that directs the vital process of an organism towards wholeness. Continue on this journey of manifestation by allowing your deepest feelings and dreams. In the shadow wisdom, are you a sleeper who wants to remain protected and seemingly invulnerable? Are you unconsciously limiting yourself by supporting the illusion of safety and security in the apparent protection of your shell? Be willing to break the constraining shells of self-concepts and life's structures. Be freed of old patterns and beliefs that once provided safety and move forward into new possibilities. Beyond the confines of security and the routine patterns of daily life, unknown possibilities beckon. Look at how you may be limiting your natural growth. Don't wait for what seem to be the perfect conditions to plant your seeds. What do they say? Perfectionism is the enemy of doing or something. Like if you wait until it's perfect before you do it, you'll never do it. Is that some kind of saying goes like that? Now is the season. Cultivate your seeds. You are the receptive soil. Your joyful desire will naturally draw its own support. All your dreams and desires lie within you to be awakened. The answer is inside, not outside. Remember that seeds contain the complete hologram of the whole, and that within the process of growth, answers and insights are always offered. Plant your intentions. They will quicken, guide, and manifest the mysteries held in your depth. Now, the poem is this: The Magical Child. We talked about rebirth. Okay, so as the magical child, I am Khan, the Bodhi Mandala, creative seed, possibility erupting. Temple-lit realm of the shimmering golden vitality of life, quickening seed into responsive surrender, gestating form. O fertile soil thou art, the cosmic seed takes root in thee. To follow thy joy will set it free. Remember, you are the seed that quickens itself to wakefulness taking root. Reach, nurture, in simple receptiveness, be present with your dream. Offer clear intent. Receive the golden wisdom of the sun and fertile earth in its nourishment, that you may bring the glowing vital force into visible form. I am Khan. I watch eagerly for the hardy shoots to emerge from the seeds you have planted. I attend them faithfully, for your dreams, visions, harsh desires are the seeded pattern that glitters on the fabric of creation, giving it joyful form and radiant luster. Your self-germinating seeds hold the potential of the greatest magic, the recognition and loving embrace of your God seed self. The divine impulse within you calls you forth. The Creator is born in the creation. Okay, Ashe. Wow. Okay. Anybody want to share anything from that? Okay.
We are already complete and whole. Just remember who you are.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, we're going to keep moving now. We are in this eclipse, and we had the lunar eclipse. We're in the new moon. Let's see what eclipses are when we get to see things that we can't see normally, because there's been a radical shift to the normal pattern of stuff. So that revealing gives us a chance to see things in a different light. And when we're dealing with the moon, we're dealing with our emotional waters. it's very important that we don't ignore, because the emotional waters is actually where we are germinating and watering that seed creation from. So you can manifest all day with vision in mind and this, that, the other. But if you're holding something back here that says, I don't trust that this could happen for me, or I'm going to be hurt if I do this, you're going to temper that growth cycle out of its fullest form because of your shaping and the nutrition that you've been watering it with. So we will see what's next. So I'm going to get Tracy to come on up here and pull for us from the Moonology deck, and then we'll have you pull our last card from the Sacred Geometry. I'm trying to make sure that I stay on time because we don't want to move over into the ceremonial work that we'll be doing, but I think we're doing pretty good so far. All right. So let's look and see what moon energy wants to amplify the message today. Okay. Okay. I'm laughing because it says a fiery climax approaches. It is the Aries full moon. Now, are we in, what is this moon? This is what's Virgo new moon? Virgo new moon was Aries previous, right? But I'm also, okay, so Aries associated with Mars is associated with fiery energy that can be used to war and conflict and anger as well. So if we look around us, I'm sure the whole statement of a fiery climax approaches could be the feeling that we've all got about something's coming to a head. Like there's certain tensions in the polarity in the world that it's like a powder keg. It could go off at any moment. There's something that feels like it could be very big all of a sudden, outside of our control. So that's why I started laughing when I saw it, because I'm like, that also that creative fire that we talked about, that catalyst that burst forth the creation, came forward. So anyone else with the Aries fiery climax energy have anything to contribute? No? Okay. Hold this for me. Thank you.
I had one this morning, but it wasn't bad.
Oh, well, yeah. So Tracy had an activation at 3 a.m. in the morning when she was guided to go have a conversation with spirit, and all of a sudden, with mental clarity, a lightning bolt zapped and shifted your whole reality from waking to morning.
Yes, everything has changed. You talk about new birth, everything has changed. Going within, it's just
In the twinkling of an eye.
yes.
All right, so let's see here. Full moon in Aries. It's time to see if you've been a little bit too much me. Aries is the me. It's the first thing that says I'm a me. Now, what is a me? And it goes off to begin exploring this reality that it's found itself in. It's the rising conscious that knows nothing until it gets to experience it, and it goes to then seek that out. So, but Aries is meant to progress through the zodiac, through beginning to then partner with the external world. That's in where we get to Libra, as we're approaching Libra season. That's when we take the me and begin to look at the we. And we as society are also being challenged right now. Are we going to keep saying, me, I'm unsafe, I need to save me, I need to make sure other people don't hurt me, I need to make sure my constituency is represented, I need to make sure me, and all of that then says, well, you're not me, is part of what we're being challenged with right now. Because the whole remembrance is to say, like in Lakesh, I am another you, and there is a collective we versus the me. So it says there's a tug of war going on between what you want and what someone else wants, but you'll have to wait a little while to see what's going to happen next. As you wait, ask yourself if you've been handling the situation as sensitively as you could have done. If you know deep down that you've been a little rash or harsh, gone too fast, or overstepped the mark, then accept that on some level you've created the situation yourself, which means you can create your way out of it too. When this card comes up, a peak is coming and it could be fiery. If we attune to the moon, be nice, be kind, smile, and be polite as you navigate to where you want to be. Additional meaning, being assertive is good, just don't ride roughshod over anyone. If you're in a tense situation, meditate your way to peace. Don't be a baby. Sorry, but this could be the issue. I mean, I can admit to that too, right? I want what I want it now. I don't care, right? So, but that's part of that is that child self, right? And we can't shame that inner child because in that stage, children are meant to be self-focused. It's their world, right? So when we're in a stage, there is a time when we naturally become self-focused. But the whole thing is to not harm others out of that process, if at all, if it's possible to do without doing that. And then it also says you need to have more fun. When full moon in Aries comes up, it is a fiery time when emotions can run very high. On the upside, there's excitement about what may lie ahead, but tempers are likely to flare with rash comments or decisions. No matter when you pull this card, it signals that a situation has just or is about to come to a peak, perhaps in a rather heated way. There could be a price to pay if you have been too competitive or too blunt. Okay. Anybody have any thoughts about that?
Here. I ain't been doing none of that. I had no energy for that.
Okay, that's when the self-review happens, and it doesn't have to hit today, it could hit tomorrow. Right? So, okay, we're getting ready to move on into the sacred geometry to support this. So, brother, you come on up and join me. Let's see what else we have. Fast move. Faith over fear. That's what it said. Faith over fear. The knowing over the thinking. Okay, so this is another beautiful deck. We could see here the owl and the wisdom of the divine, and the divine feminine is the owl energy. And we have so much sacred geometry. So we're going to see what structure we can activate into our personal consciousness to support what spirit is showing us in the collective consciousness. And I will say, in terms of decks, this is a beautiful deck. It has a lovely foil on the side, beautiful design, and the artist is on Instagram, Emily Kisvarda. You can look up Phoenix Gateways, and she does readings and teachings on her channel as well. All right, and it's raw, right? Yeah, okay. So we're pulling down with the masculine. The feminine has felt and brought in divine, and we're going to have this masculine embody this into our physical form through this structure. All right. Ooh. Oh, you got two. What? Oh, bonus card. Okay, so the one that I saw first, look at this. Harmony. We have the toroidal field. If you know what the toroidal field is, it's the magnetic vortex that you see that flows inward and outward. The planet we all have a toroidal field, where the magnetic waves move through the center core, just like this center. Create harmonious surroundings. This is card number 40, and it says common. We know that 4 is the pillars and the foundations and the structures. So if we are bringing in a harmonious and balanced frequency, and this is almost like a seed itself. So we need to hold the intention And whatever we create from our sacral self, that it is seeded with harmonious intention and vibrational energy so they can include that. And I think those, so if it's saying that the seed already contains the manifestation and its completion, then whatever you have been given is because you were the vessel that took it to completion in the first place. Right? So like if it's yours to bring into form. And there's no such thing as time. So, okay, I'm gonna have you hold this. I'm not even gonna reveal what the other card is yet because we're gonna take it as it surprises us through the process. So number 40. I am in harmony with all aspects of my life. When the harmony card appears, you need to consider which area of your life is in discord. Harmony can be felt within ourselves, within our family and home life, and within our business environment. When disharmony is present, our inner sanctum goes into upheaval. We may feel out of balance, angry, frustrated, or unhappy, have an inability to concentrate, and feel like our inner world is falling apart. A lot of people, when you look at the outside world, you would think it's all falling apart. That's why I got to come into that center place, into the eye of the storm, right? It says sacred geometry. So facial frequency 432, when digitally compressed, equals a 9, 4 plus 3 plus 2. This is considered the universal harmonic. It is mathematically consistent with universal patterns, and it correlates most with our music systems. All living things are energy vibrating at different frequencies. When we place the correct sounds and vibrations within our surroundings and ourselves, we can ultimately create our own musical harmonic. The Taurus, that's this. The Taurus ultimately translates to hold on. Let me pause. Spirit said, you just said Taurus. So the toroidal field is the magnetic energy that's shown, but the Taurus is this thing. And it's Taurus. But I just spoke about Taurus, Taurus, the zodiac. So there's a common thread between those two words because Spirit paused my tongue, like to say, wait a second, you said the same word twice, same frequency. Okay, the Taurus ultimately translates to universal integrity and wholeness. Its energy flows in one end, around the surface, and out through the other side. It is nature's way of sustaining life. It is the fundamental form of energy that is balanced. The practical application: to bring yourself back to a harmonic state, sit outside in stillness and allow the beauty of your surroundings, the chirping of birds, the patter of rain, or the rays of the sun to soak into your physical essence right down to your cellular memory. You can play tunes of 432 hertz to help you. Envision the toroidal, or relating to the Taurus, body that sits around you and everything in nature flowing in a balanced and dynamic state. Breathe. The card numerology is 4. That was the card numerology of Khan. I see you, Spirit. The crystals are fuchsite, mochi balls, petalite, selenite, and the Pau shell. Very interesting. Anyone have any feedback? Hi, welcome. Wonderful. Okay, we said, a Taurus field is a donut-shaped, self-sustaining energy pattern characterized by a continuous flow of energy inward and outward, creating a stable, balanced, and interconnected system. Thank you, moderator. Yes, creating an inner balanced and connected system. Now, one of the things that they're talking about is that Earth's toroidal field is compromised because we're getting energies from the galactic system that are bombarding our field, especially when the sun erupts, they can see that the toroidal field wobbles and waves. And so the magnetic frequencies then become disharmonious. And that's where you see birds falling out of the sky or animals beaching themselves, because what they've aligned to is no longer harmonious in the expected way that they were navigating. So it takes them off the course in that way. So being aware that there can be influences that are from the external, artificial, or dissonance that can try to influence your toroidal field of the self as a way to contribute to the distortion in the collective toroidal consciousness. So one thing that I noticed, I had heard somewhere that I think the Heart Math Institute said that the heart generates a field that you could feel up to 18 feet around you. So the years that I was working down on Peachtree Street, I started running a little experiment. I would come up off the Marietta, and as I would walk down the block, I would just beam like force field level 10, right? This feeling, I was having a whole dynamic in my reality where I was walking around in this energy bubble of giggles and love. And I would watch, and I could see people all of a sudden like look up from their phone and meet my eyes and smile, even though, and I was just waiting for their acknowledgement because I knew the field was about to hit them. And I was like, okay, it's real, it's true. And there were some folks that made themselves smaller in response to that, which I noted without judgment. Just interesting, because why are you shrinking away from my open-hearted feeling as I'm walking around like, hey, brother, hey, sister, and I'm walking around like, la, 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 right? And you're like, oh, Jesus, so we noticed that. And that's when we just send more love and realize they went through our trail, our pattern for a reason. That was probably a little boost that they needed at that time. And maybe 30 minutes later, their toroidal field might rise up a little bit, right? But it wasn't for us to necessarily see the impact that we had as the ripple continues outward from our presence. So, okay. Now, the second card that came out with it, very interesting. It is surrender. Right, we just talked about that in the first part. And it's interesting because you can see even the sacred geometry. You can see like the triangle here and the triangle upward, which is, we have the elements of the Merkaba. You've got the connectionness of the, almost like the Sri Yantra with the solid form bounding it. But inside is this, it is also like the person on a cross. Like it almost looks like a crucifixion energy in a way, because he's sitting there in a very blocky structure. Blue is what I always receive for them speaking and throat chakra, manifestation, blue and indigo. So anybody else, release, resistance, and control. This is card number 46. Does anybody have any feeling off of this? No? All right. And it's funny because look. You got on black and blue. That's so funny. I love it because we're always, whenever I have clients up here, that never fails that somebody has on a shirt that looks just like the card that they pull, which means we vibrate to ourselves what we need and have opportunity to see. So surrender. I surrender and trust. There are times in life when certain matters are out of our control, but when we surrender to this, we are giving up the resistance to allow energy to flow. To keep fighting them only brings anger, hurt, frustration, and heartache. When we surrender, it changes the energetic frequency surrounding the matter. Rather than put all your focus into resisting something that isn't shifting, stop and look at the situation. How is it affecting you and those around you? Sacred geometry. The tesseract or hypercube in this card is a fourth dimensional geometry. The tesseract is to the cube as the cube is to the square. What is depicted here in the foreground is the netting of the hypercube, which means it unfolds unfolded. It represents 8 cubes in total. To watch it in motion, the inner cube expands to become the outer cube, and the outer to become the inner. It is a cycle of motion and flows freely. In its netted state, it actually has 261 possible formations. This also equals the number 9. Okay. When we surrender, we leave ourselves open to energy flowing in balance inside and out. We allow energy to flow, and with right intention, there may be a number of different possibilities for an outcome to resolve our problems. In practical application, call on your angels and guides for help and guidance. Reflect on the situation and see what it is that is causing the block and stagnation. Change your focus and your thoughts, as thoughts are powerful. What we perceive, we create. It is important to trust and put out lovingly what it is that needs to change to shift the circumstances at hand. What it is to put out lovingly what it is that needs to change to shift the circumstances at hand. To put out lovingly. We put out a lot of stuff about changing circumstances. We got a lot of advice. We got a lot of thoughts in response to the things and the problems that we see. But what percentage of it do we put out lovingly into the correction? We generally try to meet that energy with the same energy that caused it in the opposition that we're doing in the first place. We're not putting out a loving solution to resolve the situation. The card numerology is 5, and the suggestions are Boji stones again, selenite, tiger's eye, and mangano calcite. This is so, I have to say this is hitting for me like in a very deeply personal way, right? Like, how can we lovingly express when things aren't working and when we need to allow something to be surrendered because it hasn't changed, right? So doing that to honor self and others in the transaction of doing that. That's not take this job and shove it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm just not going to work anymore and we can part peacefully. Or, it's not friends. What's the little lady on Instagram? She called up all the people and says, I release you. Where you're calling people up and blindsiding them like, but you got to clear and allow that eclipse and whatever's come up for you so that you can see any disharmonious things that need to be shifted as we move forward to birth something that is fully vested with our true power of all that we can achieve. So, I'll tell you what, these are beautiful energies. It's a lot for me to think about. And I know that, Caroline, your event that we're going to have then this afternoon is going to, I'm sure, help process this download and continue the container that we have. So I'm going to close it down here. Again, thank you. Let's show these 2 cards. Release and surrender and harmony. Create harmonious surroundings along with our birthing. And our Aries fiery. We know that a fiery climax is what creates a baby. Right? In spirit and in truth. So let's make sure we're procreating with the harmonious frequencies. Right? So I invite you to come up to Holistic anytime. If you're interested in having a personal reading of this nature or any other spiritual conversation, I'd be glad to facilitate that for you. And you'll know if Spirit guides you to connect with me. Join us this afternoon for the work. Be sure to check out Holistic's page for all the things, sound baths, yoga, meditations. You could pretty much find anything for an aspect of yourself that wants to experience a higher vibration and improvement by coming here. So thank you everyone who joined today. It's always a pleasure. And namaste to all of you. Do something ritual and observant, even if it's just going out and having a prayer with a tree or standing in the solar sun with your arms outstretched. Make it sacred, and it is so. So, namaste.